For our brushback as we begin. Big win for the Diamondbacks yesterday. They got 2 home runs there in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Reds. Reds took out their starter, I thought, too quick. They rely on that bullpen. Bullpen has not been great lately, and the Reds lose to Arizona. And they've won 9 of 11 now, the Diamondbacks. They've resurrected themselves. They were dead in the water. They were so bad for, what, they like 7-23? They lost like 23 out of 30. They were so bad, but Lavello's done a good job. They seem to get their sea legs under them a little bit. And right now they have some momentum. They buried San Diego. They beat the Rockies. Now they get a chance to do likewise with the Reds. And remember, they got 2 series left with the Cubs, so they are not out of it by any stretch for the wild card spot in the National League. They only do play the Giants twice remaining. That's in Phoenix. They do have a lead on the Giants right now by a half a game, and the Giants have to deal with Atlanta again this weekend. And remember, the Giants do have 2 series with the Dodgers left, which is a disaster, and Arizona's only got the 1 series at Dodger Stadium. So schedule might actually favor, although Arizona does have to come to New York twice, which won't be easy. The schedule could favor Arizona a little bit as far as the race is concerned. With Philly's going to get the 1 spot, and then you got those other 2 spots: Cubs, Arizona, San Francisco. Maybe the Marlins, but they have faded. Cubs and the Diamondbacks and Giants might go 3 for 1 for that last spot in the American League. Throw Cincinnati in, so maybe 4 teams. Well, it'd be 4 teams for 2 spots. If you think of it from a Cub, Diamondback, Giant, Reds, Phillies are in as the 4th seed, so you'd have 4 for 2. You want to give the Cubs a spot? You can't do that right now. Cubs are playing well, and they're 7 over 500, but you can't give them the spot. So we'll see how this works out here. But the point I want to make right now about the Diamondbacks is they've done a great job of getting off the mat, because nobody thought that they were going to recover. They were under 500 with a horrendous performance in July, and obviously a younger team. You thought maybe they hit a wall, and they have bounced back. So let's give Lavello and that team some credit, and away we go. That is item number 1 here today. Dodgers are, what are they, 19-3 in August. They won essentially a doubleheader yesterday in Cleveland. The Dodgers have played very well. Now they have their sights maybe on Atlanta, who they will play 4 games next weekend at Dodger Stadium. In the meantime, Dodgers will go to Boston to take on the Red Sox. Dodgers are guaranteed, obviously, at the very least, a bye into the divisional series. We'll keep an eye on them. Boston, of course, tonight. Be a fun series. Betts returns to Fenway. We'll talk to Dan Shaughnessy about that in a little bit. Red Sox have played pretty well recently themselves. They won 2 important games in Houston after they lost the first 2. Yesterday, 17-1. Some of those runs because of Martin Maldonado in the 9th inning, but they scored a bunch of runs yesterday. So from that standpoint, Duval's home run the day before was significant. The Red Sox are, listen, they're 3 back at Houston. They're, I think it's 3, it might be 4 back it's 3 back at Houston, 4 back at Seattle, 2 back at Toronto, as the Red Sox try to get that last wild card spot. They got a brutal schedule. Dodgers this week, and then the Astros go to Fenway next week. I don't think they're going to make it, but they've been pretty competitive, and they've shown some stick-to-itiveness when they've been, dead in the water a couple of different times. Recently, they've recovered. They had just a long road trip. They went 6-4 on it, and that's after losing 2 out of 3 in Washington. So a nice job by the Red Sox, at least to keep them relevant as we get into September. So we keep an eye on that. Texas is in some trouble right now. They've lost 1 million games in a row, 7. Their bullpen has hurt them. Milwaukee last weekend. Arizona killed them with the bullpen in the desert. And then, of course, they lost yesterday when Will Smith gave it up in the bottom of the 8th inning. They blew a 5-2 lead. So some issues for the Rangers right now. Now, they slumped before, and then they made the trades for Montgomery and Scherzer, and they righted themselves. Now they have Scherzer and Montgomery, and they've slumped again. 3 more games in Minnesota, and the Twins need the games. So 3 more games in Minnesota. Now the Twins have a 6-game lead. They won't blow that this year. The Guardians are dead. But still, I mean, the Twins are going to play hard here, and they're going to go after it. They scored yesterday a lot of home runs, and the Rangers are in a dogfight here, of course, with Houston and Seattle. And they are not as short of getting in because Toronto, they can't beat the Orioles. They lost 10 of 13, concluding yesterday their season series. But still, Toronto's only a couple of games back there, and a loss got them. So lots still to think about as far as the American League is concerned, the AL West is very, very interesting, so we'll keep an eye on that as we move it along. Houston will be in Detroit this weekend. They should do a decent job there. Seattle starts a stretch where they play a lot of games. They played the White Sox. They won 2 out of 3. They get Kansas City now this weekend, who they beat 3 out of 4 in Kansas City last week. And then they get the A's, and they'll play the A's twice. The schedule will get a little harder at the end of the month of September, but Seattle can coast a little bit right now. And we all know how well they have played. There was something like 25-12 in their last 37 games. Keep an eye on that. And speaking of the A's, the owner finally spoke. First time in a long, long time. He talked to ESPN. That's Mr. Fisher. And Fisher essentially put the blame on why they're leaving to the mayor and the government of the Bay Area and Oakland. No surprise, and I think he's right. Now, the mayor combated that and said, not true. We were only $45 million or whatever it was away from reaching the goal that they had to set. I guess the pledge was a little shy from what the A's and the city of Oakland had bargained for. And, of course, the deadline, they had a hustle to get this done as far as relocation is concerned. I'm not going to support Oakland. The Warriors left. The Raiders left. They did nothing for that Alameda Coliseum complex, so I'm not supporting this, the Bay Area on that. The A's stadium situation was a disaster forever, and they never did anything about it. So although Fisher is not beloved, anytime you leave, you're going to be hated. Whether it's Modell, whether it's O'Malley, you're going to be just, Irsay, you're going to get killed. Kroenke, St. Louis, you're going to get killed. So nobody's going to support Fisher, but I do think that the Oakland scenario was not handled properly from the cities. And I can't listen to him now losing their team. One thing Fisher did say, I'm not going to Vegas not to win. So I am spending money, a lot of it. Now, they haven't signed a free agent in eons, but he said, I'm going to Vegas to win. Winners in Vegas, and we're going to win. So there you go. That's where we stand on this busy afternoon, busy morning with lots going on in baseball. Alana, of course, is our friend. And thankfully, somebody at the MLB Network said, you know what, Russo, I can't stand a guy, but he happens to be right. Sending her to Fenway in a monsoon on a Friday morning may not be the brightest idea. So she's safely in her Nantucket house getting ready for a show today. Good morning. How are you today? Okay?
I love that my place of residence changes on a daily basis, whether my house is in Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard or the Hamptons or whatever. I'd rather be at Fenway. I wanted to do High Heat from Fenway today. I wanted to do MLB Tonight from Fenway today. I will be there tomorrow for the game as a fan. I want to touch upon what you were talking about the A's for just a second. The biggest loser in this whole thing are the Oakland Athletics fans, and I feel sad for them that Oakland continues to lose teams. Of course, the Warriors go across the bridge. You have, teams constantly leaving the city of Oakland with the Raiders and all of that jazz going to Las Vegas. Fisher bought the team right before the 2005 season, and I know that you don't buy teams if you're not making money. People don't sell teams unless there's an epic event in their life that forces them to sell. People make money. You think the players get paid a lot of money? The owners are making more than the players. But the payroll for the Oakland Athletics, he says that he's going to spend money in Vegas to build a winner. The payroll for the Oakland Athletics the last 5 seasons, 2023, they're 30th in payroll, 29th in 2022, 23rd in 21, and so on and so on and so on. This is a situation where the Oakland Athletics fans always show up when you have a competitive team on the field, and it bums me out that there's nothing there for these fans. I understand that he put a lot of money into making a new stadium. I get that. And I know as an owner, you have the right to want to make money. I get that too. But it's the fans that are the ones taking the beating in this situation, and it stinks for Oakland Athletics fans. I feel badly for them. It'll be interesting to see. Baseball's different than hockey. I know that they've shown up in Las Vegas, but it was a brand new franchise. To show up in Vegas to, support the Golden Knights, that's different. I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a fan base in Las Vegas that is as passionate as the fans in Oakland were. That is neither here nor there.